Matt Lenihan Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and our King's competitions. Carl Frampton, it's been a while since we've caught up. I can't remember when. I think it must have been post-fight somewhere or other. How's things, matey, anyway?
Good. Life's good at the minute. Obviously starting a new job here at the Zone, which is exciting times. And looking forward just to get going really and being involved in big fights again.
Obviously, with Frank Warren and everybody going over to the Zone now, it's a huge sort of play for boxing. Obviously, with yourself who's just joined, how excited are you to start this journey? Obviously, Queensbury and Matchroom all under the same banner. Great for the relationship and good for boxing.
I'm very excited. I think that there's a demand for boxing at the minute. People are enjoying it. I think a lot of it's got to do with, well, partly down to the relationship between Frank and Eddie, partly down to the fights being made that we all want to see, partly down to the Saudis as well being involved. But I think I'm excited, really excited. Look, I just get boxing's all I know, really, and it's the only thing I can talk about in any sort of great depth at length. So I'm excited to get going. I've already got a wee bit of my schedule, which is coming up. And yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Well, let's look ahead then. Obviously, we've got 10 minutes or so, but this weekend, Joe Joyce versus Filip Hrgović. I think the sort of narrative for Joe Joyce and Dylan White originally was a crossroads fight for both men. The winner goes on, the loser has to sort of have a conversation and see what he does from there. I feel like the narrative's possibly the same even with Filip Hrgović
Yeah.
stepping in, just coming off a defeat to Daniel Dubois. I remember he said before that fight, look, if I lose to Dubois, I'm finished kind of thing, I'm done. But look, he's back. And he goes into this as a favourite in the bookie's eyes against Joe Joyce. What do you make of the fight?
I mean, I think you have to have him as the favourite. But I do give Joe a chance, but I think he has to win in the second half. Hrgović is a very neat and tidy boxer, punches well in combinations, very accurate as well. But he gasses, and he gasses in the second half. And we all know Joe's got a massive engine. At a point that looked like he was indestructible, where you couldn't knock him out. And then once we seen the first Zhang fight, we kind of started to see Joe just lose the resilience, really. And I think that's what happens when you fight like Joe and you get hit a lot. The resistance literally gets punched out of you. Now I'm hoping he has enough left to. Cause he's going to take shots here in this fight, especially early on when Hrgović is fresh. But I'm hoping he's able to avoid enough. His chin holds up and gets him into the second half of the fight. And if that's the case, then he does have a chance of pulling off the upset.
The heavyweight division at the minute, it's interesting. You've got Derek Chisora, who's just been made mandatory for a world title. He's gone on live on TalkSport and said, look, that's what I want to happen. I'd love to end the career sort of on a bang for the world title. Do you see him having that fight with Daniel Dubois? We're hearing that Usyk and Dubois is potentially, there's rumours circulating for weeks saying that this is potentially done for Wembley already. What do you make of Derek Chisora being in line for a world title? And do you think he gets his shot?
Oh, you have to give him so much credit for being able to get
Mad.
into that position, and it was a great win the last time out against Volland. He looked really good. So all the credit in the world to Derek, but I mean that's what he wants. He wants to fight for a world title, and I understand it. It's really hard though to make an argument for him winning that fight. Dubois is riding the crest of a wave at the minute. He's better than he's ever looked, looking incredible, and his run of victories recently has been hard to match anywhere in the world, really, in terms of what he's done. Any weight division as well. Incredible at the minute. Derek, obviously, an old war horse, always loves a war.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we're going to get from him, and that's why people like him. But Daniel's looking really good at the minute, and it's just I think it would be a dangerous fight for Derek.
Yeah. Look, coming up, we've obviously got this huge event with Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. I've watched a lot of the coverage, especially on Talksport. I've seen you've been on a few times as well, and Simon John's obviously labelled this a circus. But I want to know from your opinion, what do you see this as? Because it's a mega event. In terms of commercially, it's off the scale. And Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it's going to be some atmosphere. What do you make of this as a matchup, a fight, an event? Just what's your take on the whole event?
I think it's going to be incredible. I mean, it has been already, the build up so far. You know what it's like in fight week as well, as where it all ramps up a bit. So I'm looking forward to it. I was hoping to be there in some format anyway, but now that I'm working for the Zone, I will be there and up close and personal to all the action. So I'm buzzing about it. It's a fight that's kind of caught the imagination of the public, just general sports fans, more so than the average boxing fan, who've maybe criticised it a wee bit, but they'll still watch it. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the event. I'm looking forward to fight week because I know there's going to be a bit more madness. There has to be.
There's a lot of people who have a take on this fight, and they keep talking about the size of Chris Eubank Jr., the size of Conor Benn. Conor Benn's obviously, I think he's fought his last couple of fights at 154. Do you think size in this fight has a big factor to play?
Absolutely. But I think in the same breath, I think it could be detrimental to Eubank in terms of how he makes the weight. Like, he looks really bad on the scales these days. And add into the mix that there's a £10 rehydration clause the next day. Now people are saying, "Oh, 10, you can't put £10 on the day." Any boxer will tell you that's bullshit. I mean, it was difficult for me to stay as the IBF champion within £132 the morning of the fight. So I used to go to bed 11.5 pounds over and dry out £1.5 pounds, and literally weigh 132 every fight I had for the IBF, right on the dot. I had it down to a fine art, and I was a small man. But when you're so dehydrated and depleted, any fluid or food or anything you take in, literally your body just holds on to it. It's going to be exactly the same for Chris Eubank, only he's bigger than me. So that's going to cause him issues. It really, really will. I want to see what he looks like on the scales before I make a prediction on the fight. But I would give him, if there was no rehydration clause, I would make Eubank a strong favourite.
Mm-hmm. Couple more from me, because I know time's running out. Look, I think next week, Atlantic City, I think one of the best fights that could be made. Jaron Ennis and Stanionis. What a fight! What have you seen of this? I know this is one for the boxing purists. We've just talked about an event which has crossover appeal. This one, if you know your boxing, and even if you're interested, you say, watch this fight. Two incredible fighters at the top of the game as well. What do you make of it? Jaron's, been talked about for many years, but Stanionis, I sort of feel like he's gone under the radar for many years and been one of the surprise ones.
Stanionis is an incredible fighter. I seen him. I seen a little thing. I think Matchroom might have put it out where he was talking to Shane Mosley, and Shane Mosley couldn't believe that he has to make 147 very soon. So he's obviously a big guy. But Boots Ennis, I think Boots potentially could be the pound for pound king at some point in the future. I think he's that good. I really do. I know that some people, I don't think he's the best talker in the world. I don't mind that. I don't think he's the best in front of cameras and stuff, and maybe doesn't have the most exciting style in the world either. But as a boxing purist, which I would like to call myself, I love to watch what he does. I think he's so clever, so smart, an unbelievable fighter. Really, really is an unbelievable fighter. It's a good fight though, really, really good fight. But I think Boots Ennis is a superstar for the future.
Who would you want to see Boots Ennis fight if he gets past Stanionis? Is him and Crawford just like a boxing fan's dream? I know he's scheduled to fight Canelo, but I mean, if Crawford could do 147 again, that is...
Well, I mean, I imagine that he's going to move up. If Boots wins this fight, I imagine he vacates and moves up. So him and Crawford as a realistic option to make. I know. I think their team have been talking about it quite a lot. Boots' team, they really want the fight. Um, but Crawford's incredible as well. I mean, it's an unbelievable fight. But that would be if Boots wins this fight, the Cates moves up. After, depending on what happens with Crawford and Canelo, then you would like to see Boots Crawford next.
If Jaron Ennis decides to move up, what happens then with Crocker Donovan that's just been made? Can that then be for the title or
I
not?
think so, and I think that's the rumors kicking about Belfast anyway. That
Wow.
Crocker Donovan could be for the IBF title. So we'll see what happens. A lot changes in only a few days in boxing, so we'll see what happens.
That'd be the ideal scenario, though, wouldn't it? To sort of,
Yeah,
especially for Crocker, who maybe thinks, why do I have to rematch? I've been unfairly done here. And then if there's a title on the line, it's sort of that added carrot kind of thing.
yeah, of course. But and speaking to a few guys behind the scenes, apparently Crocker wanted this fight. Like Crocker was calling for this fight. I know that sounds a wee bit contradictory to what Billy Nelson has been saying, but I think personally Billy's defending his fighter, but Crocker wanted to have the fight. Look, we all know Crocker's a lot better in that last performance. He was really poor on the night, and Paddy was dictating things from a distance with relative ease at times. But there was fouls being made. He was warned a few times, and then obviously the punch after the bell and stuff. But I know for a fact that Crocker is a much better fighter than that performance we've seen. But he's going to have to be able to beat Paddy. But in saying that, I mean, it's a tough fight. But just because of how the first fight was going, you would have to say that Donovan is the favourite.
No worries. Carl, I want to quickly ask you before we go. Did you see but Liam Cameron go on Talksport and mention about
Yeah.
the contract for 12 rounds, and apparently now they're requesting 10? What does that say to you? That's a massive sort of. Never heard that before. Surely that's one of the key points in your
Some
fight.
it's I mean it's some I don't know who the lawyer is that drew up the contract, but sack him in the morning. What an idiot! Like obviously it was a 10 round fight. He was struggling. Ben Whittaker, we seen that it was finding it hard for him. So why would you want a 12 round fight if you struggle to do 10? I don't know what happens at this stage. I'm not sure if Liam Cameron signed the contract. I imagine Ben Whittaker also signed the contract. Probably just signed it, not reading it all completely, and done what he had to do, which typically a lot of boxers do. But there's got to be people there making sure everything in the contract is correct, and someone hasn't done their job, and whoever that may be needs to get sacked because that is a massive, massive blunder.
Oh, sorry, you pause there for a minute.
And already favouring this rematch, and again, sorry,
Yep, carry on,
I was
sir.
already I was already favouring Cameron get into the rematch just because of how the first fight was going. But if it's a 12 rounder instead of a 10, I make him an even stronger favourite.
Wow. Well, look, let's see how it unfolds. Look, I know you've a busy day and you've probably done about a million before me, so I'm going to let you fly. Carl Frampton, appreciate your time as always. We'll catch up at one of the shows.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.
Appreciate it. Cheers, Carl.